everybody, my name is
H3TR.
and welcome to
Nomifactory.
This episode I want to get into the questline named Into the Microverse. We will not complete this episode, but we will try to reach the moon. But to get there, we also need to get into extra utilities, unfortunately. I don't really like it, it's pretty tedious. So, to get into extra utilities, we first need to get a manual mill, which will produce the energy type, which is GP, grid power, and this should be the final type of energy we handle in this pack. We're gonna start off with a manual mill. You just right click it to power it, and we will use the power initially created with the manual mill to create stone burnt, and this we will use to make other power sources, probably water mills, because those are pretty efficient if you don't use a lot of them. With the water mills we will power the resonator, and with the resonator we can make red coal, which is required to make black steel dust. And black steel dust is used for, for now we're just gonna use it to make the end cake, so we can actually travel to the end. 16 GP per unit. So yeah, we don't need this now. And we also have red coal, which is give us a quest. There we go. And this unlocks the creation of black steel. So before we continue progressing into the Microverse questline, I thought it might be a good idea to use our farming station, which I made a few episodes ago. I did not show it because we couldn't use it anyway, but anyway, we can use it now with the extra utilities thing, because to actually use the farming station, we require to have a continuous supply of hose and axes, and we did not really have a proper way to automate that until now, because extra utilities unlocks mechanical crafters, which are basically just crafting tables, except they are automated. We can just use that to create hose and axes. So what I did is I made a little dirt patch on top of this building here. I fenced off, I thought it looked cool. And I put the farming station on top. Now we have a little dirt patch, and then we're gonna farm rubber trees on it. So that's gonna be amazing, because now we don't have to painstakingly craft all the rubber in the chemical reactor. We can just set up an automated line of it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna set up a drawer wall underneath the farming station, along with a endervoir, so it has access to water. And in the drawer walls we're gonna put automatically, of course, things like sticky resin, the rubber wood, saplings, and a bunch of other things as well, I think. Then the processing line for rubber itself, I don't really remember all that well, but I know that we have a chemical reactor that gets automatically supplied with sticky resin we make in the rubber tree farm, as well as sulfur. And then we just put it in a super tank. That's really our setup, I think. This should allow us to automatically make one of these assembling machines for wrapping tables and stuff. Just the same as this one, except that rather than polyethylene, it supplies it rubber. Speaking about advanced assembling machines, I think it's about time that we actually make the better version of it. Before we can do that though, we're gonna need an HV machine hull, which will also unlock the HV quest thingy. And you might be asking yourself, what are we gonna use the assembling machine for? High voltage one, that is. And the main reason we're gonna get that is because we can craft SMD, which stands for Surface Mount Device components. And what they are is they're basically just cheaper substitutes for the components we have right now. So we don't need to craft any of the old components such as resistors, capacitors, transistors, etc. This will make our circuits drastically cheaper. And after that, I'm gonna make a clean room. With that, we unlock EV circuits, which in our case at this point is the workstation. That allows a bunch of other things to be crafted. We're probably gonna see that in the next quest line, which is mid-game. Okay, so the next thing I want to try to do is get an end cake here and some dislocators when we get there, because then we can have like set up like dislocator pedestals, and we can just teleport to places we've been through before, which is pretty neat. But to do that, we still need to get this thing here, this black steel. Alright, that's the end kick, and then I think it's finally time to, well, to go to the end. So as you've seen, we've set up a pair of dislocators to teleport us to and from the end, so we don't have to rely on the end cake and we don't have to refuel it. And we're also going to do this for the Nether and eventually the Moon when we get to it, so we don't have to use the rocket every single time we want to travel there. And you might also have noticed that I put in the chest a workstation, which actually is the first one we made, and that also means that we have set up our clean room, which is currently housing the circuit assembler and the cutting machine. And the cutting machine is used to cut certain types of wafers. I think we now use it for only just for LPICs, which are the higher tier power IC, and those are used for the high voltage energy hatches. But the laser engraver and both the cutting machine the laser engraver needs to be put in the clean room still, but the cutting machine and the laser engraver will also be used for more advanced silicon wafers, which will be produced in the future. I have set up some kind of auto crafting thing for the atomic reconstructor here, and this one is for making fluid crystals. And if you're not really familiar with this entire thing, I'm just gonna explain it. So I put, for example, on this one, the fluid crystals encoded in the crafting pattern, which is, well, that's one charged Certus quartz, redstone dust, and one nether quartz, and that automatically gets put in this precision dropper, which automatically drops its contents into the water below, like I just showed you. And then I have this range collector configured to pick up a bunch of things that are the outputs of the recipes that are being made with this thing. So in here, for example, I've put a void crystal recipe. I'm probably gonna expand it later, but as you can see, I've already put in some other things in the filter. This is, by the way, this is just a white list of items that it will pick up, and then it will just be extracted and put in one of these interfaces. I've also added underneath the base an automated setup for getting charged Certus quartz, because making it manually is really annoying. I don't know why I've not done it sooner. But yeah, here's just an export bus, export Certus quartz, import bus with a redstone card, and it's active without a signal. And then I have an ME emitter here, and if there's 128 Certus quartz, this thing will not import anymore, so this one's just gonna stay in here. Yeah, that's just gonna do that automatically. And you might have also noticed that some textures, for example the clean room walls and the filter casings, have changed a little bit, and I think also, and there's some other things as well. For example, the program circuit here. That's because the texture pack I use, I didn't like a few textures, so I made a few new ones. And for example, the rotor mold, this one I made myself. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than the default one. And I've these textures already existed. I just adapted them to use connected textures, so that it's not just like all these tiles, which are kind of ugly. Maybe I'm gonna put it on Google Drive or something, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, maybe I'm just gonna share it. Alright, so next up, I think what we should do is get some luminescence, which is required for making the components for an extended crafting table. So this requires phosphoric acid, which is it's quite expensive actually, but we still have some we still have enough materials left to get enough. There we go, that's 16 luminescence. So now I'm just gonna craft up some of these components and get this extended crafting table. Alright, there we go. That's one extended crafting table. Okay. And this will allow us to create the machines required for going to the moon, actually. And also some other stuff. And I think you can also dupe this one. Yeah. Look, I have two now. If we really want to, we can make a house out of this. Alright, so it's definitely not the most robust house, but you know, you get your little chest here, your furnace, your crafting table, and maybe a torch as well. Can't get out of this. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. Okay, I have done a bit of preparation, and I've also progressed a little bit further in this thing. As you can see, I have got myself one of these elite extended crafting tables. There it is. And I've also gotten myself this little setup for making rocket fuel. I didn't fully automate this, both because I don't have the resources right now and because it's just not really necessary. But yeah, as you can see, there's a little bit of rocket fuel in here. Just has 3 inputs, hydrogen that makes ammonia and methane. Then you have, this is for chlorine and this is for mercury. And mercury is a catalyst in this reaction for making chlorine reacting chlorine with water, which makes hypochlorous acid, and that also reacted with ammonia creates chloramine. There you go, monochloramine. And this one, actually that's not methane, this is methanol. Let's use oxygen as well, and that gets reacted with ammonia as well, and that makes dimethylamine. And then this gets reacted and this creates dimethylhydrazine, and then that goes in here and this gets mixed with oxygen to create rocket fuel. And there's also a few byproducts. Both of these make water, which gets dumped because we don't need it, and then we also get hydrochloric acid. So we just stored it in this drum, and I took all of it out and put it in this system for PCBs. So yeah, that's really a little setup. I have also made a multi-smelter just for making stuff a lot easier. It's not really, we don't really need this one anymore, so I'm probably gonna remove it soon. Maybe make another numismatic dynamo from it. But yeah, this is very good. Boosts our power a lot. Then further, I have just been creating a bunch of things. I've been mining a monazite vein, which gives, let me just show you. Monazite gives, when it is centrifuged, when it gets electrolyzed, it gets turned into phosphate and rare earth. And this can be centrifuged for a lot of different things like cadmium, yttrium, lanthanum, stuff like that. And also neodymium, which we're going to use in the next tier for motors as well. But yeah, I've just been making a bunch of this. Don't really need it yet. It's pretty great to have. And the other thing we got from it was bastnastite, this thing, and this you can electrolyze for fluorine. So that's what I've been doing right now, and I've already collected a bunch of fluorine. It's not very much, but we're gonna, there you go. It's not that much, but I don't think we're going to use that much fluorine for PTFE anyways, at least not yet. But we can automate it later on as well with the microverse stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And the next thing I also got is some preparation for the vacuum freezer. I didn't make the vacuum freezer itself, but I made some stuff that will, here, this frost-proof aluminum casing. Also made a bunch of other things like hatches and stuff that we will be able to use. But that's for later, because we don't want to progress in this. We want to, but we don't really need to yet. What we really want is this quest line. And I've also done a bunch of progression for this. I've made most of these components. I don't know why they didn't register yet, but I didn't make the guidance computer because this one's very expensive. And there's another reason as well, and that is that I have this setup. Just I don't know, just waited for me to film this. So yeah, here we go. Rocket assembling machine. It's also something for the quest, and I need to get my launch pads. Yeah, I have made a lot of things off camera. Done a lot of preparation because I just don't think that all of this crafting is very interesting. I'm just gonna show off some progress here. So yeah, I got all of these except the guidance computer as well. And well, we still have to do these quests and the guidance computer. But most of that, after that, we are almost done with this rocket stuff. So yeah, what I'm gonna do now is get a guidance computer, and then I will also get the other stuff for the quests, and then we can finally go to the moon. We can actually do this without going to the moon, but you know, this is more fun. And this takes really long and use all the centrifuges, which I don't want to do. But yeah, there we go. That's the quest. Yeah, I'm gonna make the guidance computer right now, and I hope I have enough stuff for this because it's quite expensive. But yeah, I'll manage. And that is the final quest for going to the moon. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is actually make our launch pad up, obviously. And I'm just thinking to put it somewhere back here. I think that should be fine. Okay. And now we can start building our rocket. Okay, so for this rocket to work, I'm just going to place 2 engines here, and then I'm going to try to place this and put the guidance computer right on top. I'm going to put the seat right here, and now I'm going to need the planet selector chip, and we have to put this in the guidance computer. And right now we can scan the rocket, and we are clear for liftoff, so let's build this thing. And now the only thing left is fueling this. Okay, here we go. So put in the rocket fuel, and I think it should now start to fill. Yes, we can see it filling up. Alright, so now the final thing we should actually do is, wait, not the final thing. We should get our rocket suit here. Okay, so the final thing we have to do is select a destination, and in this case that's going to be the moon. So there we go, and now we can take off. I'm apparently sitting in the fuel tank. I don't think that's supposed to happen. But yeah, we gotta lift off.
orbiting about the moon, let's descend here. And then we can finally grab ourselves some moon turf. And I just realized I have not explained at all why we even need to go to the moon. Well, we will want to make some of these micro miners, which is a mechanic unique to Nomifactory. It's not something from Reennacted or something, but an Omnifactory as well, but whatever. These things will get us renewable resources out of some kind of microverse. I don't have an idea what they mean with that, but you know, it just gives us resources. But to build this multi-block structure, we will need microversium, and that is made in the blast furnace with deuterium. And deuterium is made by centrifuging moon dust, or by centrifuging hydrogen, but we barely have any hydrogen and it's very slow. So we just want to go here. Okay, let's get our teleportation thingy set up. Swap bound is dislocator to our base. And before we go, actually, we want to get some moon turf. Get a bunch of it, ruin the entire moon surface untouched for millions of years. Not anymore. So just for the quest, I'm gonna grab one of these regular moon turfs, and there we go. The fly to the moon quest. And this is a pretty big one. Okay. And there we go. Let's put this thing here. And now we have free travel to the moon and back. So yeah, I think that's really what I wanted to do. So I'm just going to end the episode here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please leave a like. If you want to keep up with the series, I suggest you subscribe. And if you know anyone who would like this video, I greatly encourage you to share it with them, so I can get some more exposure. But yeah, that's it. Goodbye.